You're going to hear the voice of Grandma Iole Martinat Banker. Grandma Iole Martinat Banker. And I'm going to show you photos like this one that was taken at our house. It seems like in October 27th, 2019. So a year later, she'd be dead by just a few days. Looked pretty good there. Okay, she's going to start talking about, I think she's going to talk about the pool table at 35, you know, how it got up the stairs, their antique one. Okay, here we go.
Now at 9835 got up the stairs. I mean, you had to take the thing apart. Yeah, because it came from 9855 and it got burned in the fire.
Just scarred a little tad. Probably if you didn't know where to look, you wouldn't know where it was. By that time, the firemen had they let, the front part burn because it went first. This part back here.
55.
It was second. And, well, anyhow. How they got and then we decided to build another house on the other side. Well, anyhow, we had room for one more house. So, we did.
So 35 wasn't built, so when was 35, any part of it built?
35 was built probably in 83.
Well, that was the addition.
You mean you didn't build any of that? I thought there was a little,
Oh, my parents built their house in 1948.
Yeah, 1948. So some of 9835, like the back door entrance or something, that was built in 1948.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just the upstairs and then the...
Pretty well all remodeled.
Well, the dining room, that was...
That was the whole house.
Yeah, but that was still where... That wasn't new.
No.
The old part in 1948.
Yeah. But then new windows and, remodeled.
Yeah, 1983.
And the reason we did that and not tear it all down completely was if you did that, you have to pay a big fee for building. Now, I forget what they call it, a building new house fee or something. But if you remodel, then the cost is, even if you just leave one stick of wood, they call whatever you do from then on is just remodeling.
Wow.
So we had this pool table, and which I guess we had dismantled it and took it apart already because it was such a good pool table, and sometimes renters, little kids, like to throw the balls around and everything, because once that slate gets dinged, it's not a good table anymore. Gets a hole in it, then, goodbye Jack, you need a new slate. And I don't even know if they make that kind of slate anymore. So, of course, it couldn't go up, they took everything off, the rails, and it took slate, and everything.
Well, you take it apart, I mean, screws and...
Oh, yeah, you need one special little, any billiard table has just one little tool to get on our table particularly. It's just a decoration, but you need a very special little tool to take this little decoration off.
What's the decoration look like?
It's a little round gold button lights all around several places.
Oh, and those are the things that come off. Huh.
It's really just for... Well, I think it's... no, I know what the decoration is for. After you take that off, then there's big long screws that screw the table on the slate onto the frame.
Mm-hmm.
So you took it all apart, including the rails, and so that's you have to take the felt off, and with that there's little tiny nails that go all the way around to hold the felt on. So you have to go around and take all those little nails out. So, oh yeah, it's a big lot of work. So anyhow, but to get it, we decided to put it upstairs, and no way could we have managed a corner, because there's a couple of sharp corners to get into this room that we particularly designed for the pool table. We made the room big enough to
Go around.
With the cues, because a lot of pool table, you've got to have a pretty big room, especially for a 9 by 12 full-size pool table. But anyhow, this was a big room. But, so what to do, how to get it up there? So, in the room next door to the pool room, we call it the pool room, are these sliding glass doors.
By the balcony.
Yeah. No, not those. Well, facing the mountains. You know the little balcony that we have?
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. So, they hoisted we had like a little walkway or a little rail or whatever around the outside, upstairs.
Around the balcony.
Yeah, little balcony. So they hoisted it up with rope, these two guys, and they lifted it up over the rail into this room, which we designated as a bedroom, office, whatever you want to call it. I guess we used it for both. And then it was a straight shot. They could go straight. They didn't have to make any more turns to go into the pool table, into the pool room. So
they put the rope, when they hoisted it up, they put the rope on the balcony itself? Or?
I think they had a pulley of some sort.
They better.
Yeah. So,
otherwise it breaks off.
because that part is very, very heavy.
Yeah.
And so then these same guys, that was their job, was to put the table back in order. So they put the table back. They leveled it and everything they had to do, the plaster Paris bit, and because you have to be. I don't know how they did it, but you have to pull the cover very straight in taut.
For the felt.
Yeah, for the felt. And then hammer. There's an art. Of course, there's an art to everything. So it was finally put up, and it looks real nice there because it's big enough room that the table, you can play very much at ease with no matter what kind of cue you want to use,
Perfect
for the house that burned down where we had this table. There was a couple of spots that we had a very, very short cue. We had to say, we need the short one here because the room wasn't really quite big enough for, especially if one position, if the ball got into a certain position.
That was at 55, in 98-55, that when the pool table was originally there, the room it was in was a little smaller, so it was hard to maneuver. You'd have to use a shorter cue. But at 98-35 with the bigger room, you could always use the long cue. You weren't forced to use the short cue just because of limitations on how big the room was.
And of course, where we lived, there weren't that many people here yet, but they had opened up another street behind us to the north of us and put some new houses there, and we got acquainted with these people, and they liked to play pool so much, and they would pretend like they were going for a walk, but hoping that we'd invite them in to play pool, which of course we did. And they liked it so much that they converted their double garage into a pool room themselves and added another garage, I guess. And the same thing for the people next door, right directly behind us. They did the same thing. They took the double garage that was attached to the house and made a pool room out of that, and so
Caught on quickly.
yeah, and then put another garage, and so it was really it's very nostalgic to us because if it could talk, it would tell you a lot of things. One game that my dad liked was called Pool. What was it called?
What's it like?
Bottle. It's called Bottle.
I like that.
And so Bottle was, it was in the shape of an old-fashioned milk bottle made out of leather, not quite that big.
It was made out of leather?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why it was brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because you didn't want it. You didn't want to wreck the table with that, so it was leather. So you had 3 balls. 1, 2, 3. The ball number 1, the ball number 2, ball number 3. So, and you had the cue ball. So the object was to touch one of the balls, either the 1, 2, or 3, and after the cue ball touched it, and then you had to have it knock the bottle down.
So you want ball 1, 2, or 3 to touch and knock the bottle down?
Yeah. And the movie had to knock it down with the cue ball, with the cue.
Oh, so the only one that counts is if you knock the bottle down with the cue ball.
If you did it any other way, you took 1 point off your score.
Okay, so you hit the cue ball, with your cue, you take your cue and hit the cue ball, and then the cue ball has to hit either ball number 1 or 2 or 3.
That's right. No, that's right.
But you can't just hit the cue ball at the bottom.
No.
You have to take your cue, hit the cue ball at ball number 2, say. Hit ball number 2, and then have the cue ball bounce off and hit the leather ball.
Yeah. Right. And so it was really a form of billiards. If you play billiards, it's the same kind of a thing. Your cue ball has to hit. You can say that it was a form of billiards. This was just a bit harder than billiards because you had 3 things to knock down.
So I'm pretty sure this photo was taken at the only place in town in Sierra Madre, probably after we went to visit Grandma Iola's mother, Iole Martinat, who had a stroke around probably, let's see, maybe when she was almost 90, in her late 80s. So she was at a nursing home up there where my mom used to work when there was a little hospital with the nursing area up there. So maybe we just went to visit her or something. Maybe that's why we're dressed up. But I'm pretty sure this is the only place in town because they used to take me there a lot when I was a kid. And in fact, that was the first restaurant I ever went to that my parents took me to when I was a little baby. Eugene and Yolanda, they were living in Sierra Madre, up in the canyon. And so they took me to the only place in town, and I know those tables, the shape of those tables really seem like the only place in town. And I used to be crazy about their oh, what was that? Oh, some kind of dessert, like a mud pie kind of dessert with dark crust, like dark black crust, and then yeah, some kind of mud pie, I think. But I didn't have it too often, I guess. I know when I graduated from high school, I was going to go and have a treat to get it again, but by that time, I guess they stopped making it.
And because billiards is the same thing, except you have no pockets. And no, billiard is no pockets.
A pool table has pockets in it.
Well, you cover them. We have a set that covers the pockets, so you can. It's a form of you clamping them on.
Huh. So what do you do in billiards? I forgot.
Billiards, you have